I think at the bottom, if you go, there should be. Yep, perfect. Okay, let's see here. Yep, got it. Amazing. Okay.
Perfect.
Yay. Okay, so for those of you, well, I just introduced, but I'm Colleen. I'm super excited to be here and present with each of you. I did this presentation last semester, actually. I put some upgrades on it, but I really want this whole next hour to be very interactive. I guess I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, yet I really want to focus this presentation, which is called Creating a Mindset That Will Empower You to Live the Life of Your Dreams. One thing that happened, or I can tell a few of you, is that I'm only 26 years old. So a lot of you, I am not much older than you. And I went to Michigan State as my undergrad, where I got a marketing degree. I then graduated and worked for a $23 billion company, which I'll get into, and I traveled the world. I lived in New Zealand. I've lived in all these different countries. And I went and got my master's of science at ASU. In global technology and development, and I actually start my PhD in the fall in psychology of global leadership and change at Pepperdine, which is in Malibu, LA. And so I'm super just excited to be here, and I really want to share with you all how I kind of got to be here, and I want to share with you all kind of expanding your mind and expanding what's possible for you in this life. So I want this presentation to be super interactive. If you guys have questions along the way, please chat it, or you can feel free to take yourself off mute and ask me when I specifically say like, hey, any questions, guys, something you want to move through, because I'm here just to be of service, and I really want you to understand what can be possible for your life in such a short amount of time. Because it wasn't that long ago where I was sitting in your shoes and like searching for jobs and looking for things. And even with what's going on in the world now, I mean, my whole business is adapting in different ways as well. So with that, what's kind of going to happen is the next hour is going to just be very interactive. Like I said, I'm going to give you my background more than I just did. I'm going to go through understanding how to gain clarity on what it is you desire. I'm going to share mindset methods for you to create the life of your dreams. And if we have time, last time we ran out of time because we had so many questions, which is beautiful, I have an interactive exercise for us to all do together. So I hope that sounds amazing with all of you, and I'm just excited, so let's dive in. So a few questions I have, and this, if we were in the classroom, obviously it'd be a little bit different, but I'm just a little bit curious, like who's excited to be here? You can put it in the chat or not, like who's just excited to be Yeah, I mean, you can just, chat or whatever, like who's just excited to really be, at school. And you can be honest, like if some of you are like, I actually not excited to be at school, I'm absolutely not excited to do whatever, like just be honest, I'm really curious. Awesome, Zach. Anyone else? I'm gonna put a little chat here so I can see this. Awesome. I can't see all of your names that's on here, but I think it's Emily. But I'm happy that some of you are excited, because I remember when I was in school, I'm just going to move this over here so I can see you all. When I was in school, I'm still going to be in school, I remember there was a time, especially in undergrad, I was not excited for my classes. I was like, screw this, I don't want to be here. I want to go talk with my friends or whatever that it was, and all that. So Raymond, cool. I'm excited for you to be here to learn this. I feel like it's going to shift a very different perspective for you. So thank you for being honest. So anyway, that's the first question that I have, because how we show up to something and how we do whatever we do in life is actually more important than what we do. Carlos, thank you for being honest about that. Because, yeah, I like that you said Carlos is just a phase. How we show up to something is more important than the actual action we do. So for example, the act of grocery shopping right now, right? I don't think it's an exciting task for almost anyone. Yet if we show up and we're like, this sucks, it's not gonna be exciting, there's gonna be a line, well, you just created the reality of that. So I can give you an example. I go to Trader Joe's, and there's a lot of other places in LA where I live right now we can go, and I sometimes the lines are so long, like almost 2-hour lines for grocery stores right now. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna go at noon today, hopefully it's gonna be perfect, I know it's gonna be perfect. And I get there and there was like literally no line, everything worked out, and I was like, how did I just create that? And it was because the energy, the momentum that I created about the excitement of doing the thing was more important than me just doing the grocery store. And I want to get you thinking in this way and vibrating your thoughts in this type of way of how you show up to something is more important than the action that you do. And so maybe you're not excited to go to class, but the action of you being like, you know, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to allow myself to have an opportunity to think differently. Then that's going to change your whole reality of how you co-create experiences in your life. Does that make sense to everyone before I go on to the next one? Does anyone have any questions on that? Make sense? Okay. So next one, who's excited about their life? I'm really curious always about this one. Who's just excited about what's going on in life? I know it's kind of hard right now, but I'm just curious, like, who is just truly, authentically excited about life?
Yeah.
Emily, I love that. Alexis, I love that. Anyone else? Is anyone not excited about life? Raymond, awesome. Okay. Do you know, Raymond, I'd be curious, do you know why you feel like you aren't excited about life?
Probably because I don't know where anything is going right now.
Got it. Okay. So clarity. Let's see. That's where you got me. It's hard to be excited sometimes. Okay, I will be when this passes over. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about these if-then statements. Brayden, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Sorry if I say your name incorrectly. You can unmute yourself and tell me. But okay, let's talk about if-then statements. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna get into how you can really create your own life with money and business. Yeah, these are some important questions that I'm asking now. So if we say to ourselves, when I have a degree, I'm then going to be happy. When this pandemic is over, I'm then going to work out. When this happens, I'm then going to do that. We are psychologically, we are telling ourselves that what we have right now is not good enough. That we, in our fullest expression of who we are, of what's happening, is not good enough. And that is not a good feeling thought to be vibrating in. So every time we do, when this happens, then I will whatever, we are actually not allowing the full momentum of who we are to be embraced, to be excited, and to allow, I guess, what we really desire to come through. Let me know if that makes sense, Brayden, and let me know if anyone else that makes sense, because we're basically psychologically always saying in a future that may never happen, then I'm going to choose what I have available to me right now. It's like saying all of us, I mean, hopefully I'm praying all of us have access to food and water. And so it's like saying if in 2 days from now, I'm going to be so much happier when I have 3 bottles of water instead of having the 1 bottle of water that I have right now. And when you feel like that, you're always going to be wanting more instead of appreciating what you have now. And the quickest way to get clarity, to gain excitement, to do anything is through gratitude and through being aware of what's possible for you right now. So I just wanted to go into that, but I'm so happy you share this. I will be when this passes. I am, but not a lot given our current situation. Interesting. I love that you guys are sharing this. It's still a phase. I agree with Brayden. I love this. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the current situation, but not right this second. Okay, so who's excited about their future right now? Me? So we have one of you.
Saw some hands go up.
Yeah, I'm seeing chat. Okay, so for those of you who are, I think the future has a lot of opportunity. I love that. It absolutely does. 50-50. I love this. Okay, so we have about 50 of you that are like, 50% of you excited, 50% of you kind of like, we'll see. So cool. I really like that. That's exciting to hear. Okay, the next thing I want to ask you guys is, what would it take to make you excited about your future? For those of you that weren't excited. Some sort of progress, just to see some sort of progress in my goals. Awesome. Okay, I like that, Zachary. So you have goals. So it's very excited, but I'm very excited to hear this, that you have Goals. And what would be some of your goals, Zachary? I'd be curious if you don't mind sharing them, or anyone else if they want to share them in the chat. What are some of your goals?
Like for me, I want to go to law school, but like, where do I start looking for law schools? Where do I start, applying? When do I start? When do I start internships? It just feels like all of my group of friends have already started their lives. Versus me, I'm still kind of stuck on player 1 and they're already on level 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like that. Thank you for sharing. We're going to get into this, and I'm going to keep a mental note of that. But thank you for sharing. And when we talk about truth, we're going to get into this. So thank you. Anyone else? What would it take them to make them excited about their future? My goal is to work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I love that. And so Braden, you can take yourself off mute. The thing I'm curious about is, do you genuinely want to work a 9 to 5, or do you not know if there's another way?
No, I just really like the structure and just like, I don't know. I like it. I find comfort in schedule.
I like that. That's very good to know. Comfort and schedule. Asking for advice more often. Carlos, I love that. So there's a lot of you who are very curious. There's a lot of you who are very curious. You genuinely really want to set yourself up for success. And you maybe just feel like you don't know how to do that. It's kind of what I'm seeing, because the reason that you guys are saying if you're not excited, it's because you're not excited about what's going on right now, or there's something in the future that you're unsure how you're going to get there. So these are great. These are all really great. And these are all important things. Before I go to who I am, I want to share a little bit about excitement, why I use this word excited. Excitement is the most contagious energy that you can ever have. So think about it. Our feelings are what guide us to create life. So like, you're excited about law school. You just have a knowing that you're excited, and you're gonna not know how that's happened, but you're excited about it. When you aren't excited in life, you usually aren't going to be pumped to wake up out of bed. You aren't going to be excited to write the email. You aren't going to be excited to go ask for advice. You aren't going to be excited to look at my goals of 9 to 5. Where do I find the right structure where I want to do something where I can then contribute and then receive in the form of payment and impact from that. And that all comes from excitement. That all comes from feeling good. Very rarely are you going to meet someone who's feeling really bad, feeling really down, feeling unsure, and they're going to be creating this incredible life. That's just not going to happen very frequently. So you want to get yourself into momentum of always feeling excited, always understanding what it means to be excited, and understanding how you can transition your life to always be in a state, even through hardship, even through challenges, of going, how can I take this and move it into an exciting state so I can learn, so I can grow, so I can evolve and be who it is I want to be. Does that make sense to everyone? Or does anyone have any questions about that? Excitement, or just these? Make sense? So who am I? I shared a little bit about who I was, but I want to go a little bit deeper. So I had cancer at age 14. For those of you who, I was very young. I had thyroid cancer. I have a lot of beliefs about cancer and why it occurs. Yet when I was your age, when I was your guys' age, I was still doing surgery and chemotherapy. And I had a lot of boys that actually made fun of me when I was your guys' age. And I would literally be called like ugly. It was like so awful. Like I was a very smart, I'd always have good grades, and I was at Michigan State, and I was involved in different organizations on the chairs. Yet I had this really deep thing in me that made it really hard for me to be who it is I wanted to be. Because I feel like I'd always be embarrassed to go out places. People would make fun of me or ask me questions about my scar. And it made it really difficult for me to be confident in interviews, or to feel like I was accepted. Like, it was very challenging. And that was really when I was your guys' age. So not even, 5 years ago. I'm 26. And from that cancer, there's a lot of other things that happen, but I've been off medication I was supposed to be on for the rest of my life for 3 years, which is as soon as I started to follow my dreams. And which is really what I want to share with you guys, of how to start creating a mindset around following your dreams, how to start creating a mindset of what's possible for you. So as I said, I graduated from Michigan State, and I worked for a $23 billion company where I grew my territory $0 to $1 million in 8 months, and then $5 million to $8 million in 8 months. I then wanted to live international, and the company told me I'd have to wait 5 years. So I'd be 28 years old. And I said, no way. I'm going to save my money. And I left my job and moved across the world to New Zealand, where I got a job with the number one leader in demand response, a $400 million company, where I covered Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. And again, I really wanted to be this like strong, independent woman making a difference for women rights, but really just being also a marketer and an engineer type role. And I realized that my soul was slowly dying. I was forcing myself to live a life that I hated. And it was funny, you guys were talking about drinking. I was drinking, going out, drinking, partying all the time. And I was in really awful relationships. And I realized there was a point in my life when I had to do something different. And it was when I was in New Zealand, I started doing yoga for 4 hours a day and meditation. And it came to me that I was meant to write my first book, which is called Live Your Truth. And for many of you, like you've just put here, like my goal was like you guys, I want to work a 9 to 5. I want to work for a big company. I want to sell a lot. I want to make money, and I want to travel the world. That was what I wanted. And I thought I had to do that through a corporation. And so when I was in New Zealand, it was the first time where I started to question entrepreneurship. I started to question, is there another way to do this where I don't have to follow the matrix? I don't just have to work a 9 to 5, save my money in a 401k, and retire 35 years later. Is there a way that I could really live with purpose, where I could really impact people to understand all the shitty things I've gone through and all the loneliness and the hardship, the depression, the anxiety that people go through because they're so afraid to be themselves. They've been so rejected. They've been so unsure and unclear of what to do and how to make sense of where they're meant to go. And I basically left my job, with each of these jobs, I was making at least $100,000 a year at 21, 22 years old. And I said, I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna figure this out. And so I left with $5,000 in my bank account in January of 2018. And I wrote my first book. I created my first online program, and I've done all these other things around that. But in my first year of business, I made it to 13 countries. And I spoke on all these different stages with big speakers and all these incredible things. I helped a lot of people leave their jobs that didn't love it. I helped a lot of people come off chemotherapy early. I've helped a lot of people understand what it means to truly receive the clarity of why they're here. And from that, I've lived in Michigan, Arizona, Texas, all these places, South Africa, Cuba, United Kingdom, New Zealand. I've visited 35 countries. I've been to 28 of the 50 states. My Master's of Science, I said, from ASU. I got my book published through ASU, because of my master's. It's called The Future for Rohingya's Education in Bangladesh, through Lambart, which most of you, if you guys look at your books are from Lambart. It's one of the biggest academic publishings in the world. And I start my PhD in the fall. And so who am I? It's interesting because I feel like I'm this very dynamic woman who's 26 who really just believed that there was something more to this life, and that there's a lot of people like you guys who have something so special to give to the world. Yet it's just finding, how are you going to do that? And how can you do that in a way that's going to provide you an income, that's going to provide you a way of living from inspiration, and from living from a way where you truly are the creator of your life. And so does anyone have any questions on that before I kind of go into what I want to teach you? I know it's a lot. Any questions at all with any of it? All right, then we'll get into it. Okay, so first I want to go into desires, and I'm going to ask you guys a lot of questions here. And I want to really just get you vibrating and thinking in a different way. So one thing I want to ask you is, who in here desires to have lots of money? Awesome, Zachary. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, I love this. Awesome. Okay, cool. So quite a few of you. And the next question I have is, who in here desires, let me see, not an excessive amount, but enough to be comfortable? Okay, now let's go there before I go to the next one. Tell me about this, Raymond. Why not an excessive amount? And what is an excessive amount to you?
I don't know, just having an excessive amount of money doesn't mean anything to me if I'm not happy doing what I'm doing.
Totally.
But
And what do you think makes you happy?
I'm not sure yet. Right now, I think it's that I want to help people. So that's why I'm majoring in forensics. But
Honestly, Raymond, that is the best thing that you could ever say is I just want to help people, because people that truly are happy in life, like you said, people can make a lot of money doing a lot of different things. And I've worked with so many people. When you truly have a burning desire to help people, not only are you always fully taken care of in your life, but you start to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. The fact that you just said that means that you are 90% more on the way to creating the life of your dreams than 90% of other people, because you genuinely have just shared what is the most important thing about this life is to want to help other people. And so from the next question I want to ask is, who in here desires to create a life so they are spending time doing what they love? I love that, Emily, always. Zachary, that's where I come from. I love this. I really love this. This makes me really happy to see how you guys were more comfortable with doing something you love than here to have lots of money. That's really beautiful. And sorry, I wanted to go back. Brandon. So tell me why you don't want to have an excessive amount, but a comfortable amount of money. If you could take yourself.
I don't know. I don't want it, and I feel like if I had a lot of money, I would spend it in a lot of ways I shouldn't. So if I just don't have it, I guess.
Okay, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And we'll go there in this, because I want to get you in the vibration of feeling. What if it meant for you that the more money you had, the more people you could help? What would that mean for you? Anyone? You were on speaking, and I think you went back on mute.
I don't know.
Okay. I agree, Emily. You don't need money to help people. I would definitely agree with that. I feel it starts in the small moments. So I love that that's what you're saying. Okay, the next question I had, who in here has already thought about retirement? Yeah. Who in here has thought about when you're gonna retire? I love that, Jessica. Okay. Zachary, I love that. I don't want to retire either. So I love that you already have your heart there. You really want to love what you do so much that you don't need to retire, which is beautiful. Brandon, I love that too. Awesome. Me only because of my husband. Okay, this is good to know. Who in here has thought about how they're going to make a sustainable income? Zachary, me, Jessica. And I'm just curious, tell me some of the ways that you guys have thought how you're going to make a sustainable income. What have you thought about what you're going to be doing? I know one of you said a lawyer, but what are some other ways that you guys have thought about this? 401k. Okay. Anyone else, how they thought about they're going to make a sustainable income? Savings and investments. What type of investments? I'd be curious. Hit the lotto. I love it. Okay, we're going to get more into that. Who in here has thought about sales? Has anyone thought about sales? Emily says gross. Tell me why gross, Emily. With sales.
So I did rehab and injury massage for almost 10 years. I worked on my own. I did a lot of promotions, that sort of thing. I also worked in the bar industry for a while. And in any of my jobs, the sales part of it, feeling like I have to sell someone on something, I don't want to have to, because with sales, there's negotiation and there's pressure and there's that convincing someone that they need what you have. It is really what a lot of sales is the convincing people that they need what you have. And I don't want to deal with that. I'm getting ready to apply to med school because I just want to be able to help people, and I want to know that there's a secure income involved in it, especially as setting up my kids for the future with their college and everything else. The sales side of it is not something that resonates with me. I'm very good at it. I don't enjoy doing it. It's not something that is rewarding or makes me feel good when I do it.
So thank you for sharing this, and I love, Madison, that you agreed with that too. And Emily, I wanna go here for a second too, because when you said the sales, it was, you're like, you said you're going to be in the field. You're going to go be more into a doctor field, right?
Yes.
So what if someone really came to you and they were really sick and they needed help, and you are a doctor, and necessarily you aren't really selling them, but you're just sharing how you could help them? Would you then look at sales a little bit differently?
That sounds like a saleswoman's response to my opinion on sales.
Interesting. Thank you for your perspective. Go on.
I think that, yes, if you have the intention of helping someone, then you can, but the transition of getting something out of it, like I want to help people, and I want to help them do the best thing that for them, their cultural views, their personal views, as far as treatment or where to go. I want to help them find what is best for them. But the idea of selling someone on a treatment or that part of it, that's for the pharmaceutical companies to do. I don't want to be a part of that, of medicine. I want to help people find what is their truth and best for them. I don't want to sell them on it.
Got it. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I'm doing this. We're gonna go through this when I'm talking about the find, speak, and living your truth, because I think this is a very important key. When you look at anything in life, everything is sales. And I'm not just saying that because of I guess the background that I'm in, but when you look at finance, when you have a finance industry, when you look at stock markets, when you look at, doctors, even if on their website, or when you're going to things, if you look at universities, everything, even if you look at mugs, everything at every time is selling to you. A water bottle, one is saying that it's more pure than the other, one is saying that where it's sourced from. Throughout our whole life, every single thing that we ever do will be sales. And so it's an interesting relationship that I've come to, and I've had actually a similar experience in the medical doctor industry. I had a doctor that tried to sell me on doing another surgery, and I didn't need another surgery. And that was the point in my life when I said I will never buy medication for the cancer that I had again. And that was like the commitment I made to myself. So I definitely agree with you. There's sales to do it in a way that someone's doing it to meet their bottom line, and there's something which I call relationship building, which is much more of a genuine connection of someone really is coming to you an authentic problem, and you are really offering them a service or product to help them. So I love hearing that perspective with that, because there's things that I can relate to with that. And the other thing I want to share is who here has thought about the fact that they can leave the world a better place? Amazing. There's quite a few of you, I think, raising your hand. Okay, awesome. And the other thing that I want to ask you all is, who in here has thought about what your life could look like 12 months from now? Anyone else? Anyone? What your life could look like in 12 months? Where you'd be, what you'd be doing, who you'd be hanging out with? Awesome. So we have one person. And I overthink too much. Nope. Okay. And the other question that I want to ask you guys before this, and I'm just really curious, because I always like going here with this, but who in here, what is a lot of money for you? Or even when you're saying I want to have savings, or I want to provide college for my kids, or I want to be able just to have a job and do whatever. I mean, what's money that you guys are thinking? What's a comfortable amount of money for you guys when we were talking about that? I'm just curious to see what a number is for each of you. You can take yourself off mute, or you can put it in the chat. Like 30,000, 50, okay, 50K. Anyone else? But Carlos, give me a number. What's enough to pay bills? What is that amount? I would like a lot of honey. What I mean? Okay, 50K or okay. Okay, so around 50K is what a lot of you see. Okay, awesome. Okay, so what I want to take you guys through is 3 mind steps to creating a life that will serve you and serve other people. Let me just see what Jessica said. Sorry, before I do this. I don't have a set number. Awesome. Okay. So what I want to share with you all is some perspective. And so the first thing I want to go out in this 3-step mindset is it's called finding your truth, finding clarity. So a lot of times the reason that we maybe feel unhappy in life, the reasons that we feel like we're stressed with money, the reason that we feel like we aren't helping people, the reason that we feel whatever that it is because we don't have clarity on who we are and why we're here. And I feel very blessed to have cancer at such a young age, because I've seen a lot of people pass away that were young children, and also people that were older that never truly found out why they were here. And I really feel that there's 3 things and 3 ways to do life. One is you're going through the motions. One, you absolutely know your purpose. You know how to help people. You know why you're helping people. And the third one is you have a calling. And very rarely do people get to the step of having a calling, because it takes commitment, it takes work, and it takes knowing that you are really here to empower so many people by whatever it is you're passionate about. And that takes the opportunity for you to start to believe in yourself, which can be scary, because in a world, especially with everything going on right now, we've been taught to not believe in ourselves. We've been taught to believe in medical systems. We've been taught to believe in, I guess, politics. I mean, we've been taught to believe that, maybe sales could be extremely bad. We've been taught to believe that we can't help people, or, we can't help people just by being one person. As one person said, like, I'm just one person. How could I really change the world? And in that process of these thoughts that are going on, we don't really allow ourselves to fully embrace and understand how powerful we are and how capable we are to change the world. And so one exercise that I like to share with all of you who maybe are just starting this is write down 10 things that excite you in your life. And I want you to write down, like, if you were basically think about it, again, going to pass away in a week, what are 10 things that you would want to say you did? Would you want to help people through the medical industry? Would you want to travel the world? Would you want to graduate college, become a lawyer, and win a big case? Like, what is the 10 things, if you had a week left to live, that you know without a shadow of a doubt you would want to experience in your life? And what's really beautiful is Warren Buffett actually shared this, and he says, once you do these 10 things, write them down. And maybe some of you have some ideas, like, and you can put them in the chat. What are these 10 things that excite you, that if you were truly going to pass away in a week, that you were like, I know that I would want to do this. These are things I would have to do for me to feel like I truly lived. And Warren Buffett says, when you write these 10 things down, look at the top 3 things, and you should basically never do anything other than those 3 things ever again. So from a lot of you have shared here, is a lot of you probably would want to help people. Probably spend time with your kids. I know one of you shared that. But what are some of the other things that you guys, I mean, maybe traveling, I saw travel the world. What are some of the things that you guys, if you knew, let's say you had a week left, that you would want to do? Do you want to put it in the chat? I love that, Zach. And explain that to me a little bit. You can come off me if you want. What's something bigger than you ever thought you could be?
Changing the world for the better, trying to, like, when you said, like, win a big case, I mean, that's something, like, I see in those guidelines, is because for me, I want to make I want to make a difference in the world. I want to change the world around me. And for me, that means, putting, as cliche as it sounds, putting the bad guys behind bars.
I love that. And I really love that there you already have a clarity of what that means, and that you want to go into something with legal. That's something very important to you. So you already have more clarity. When you said like my friends are here, you probably have more clarity than some of your friends, because you just said, I want to help people and I know this is the way I want to help people. A lot of your friends may be just doing a job to get money.
Right.
And you have now, just because you've admitted that you've said that into the world, that you're doing that, the world always delivers to you. Grow as a person, build a small house in the mountains and having a garden. I love that. Carlos, find something fulfilling. Describe this to me. Carlos, you can come off mute. I want you to share, what does fulfillment mean to you?
So I can't really find something fulfilling, but I mean, helping people would be step one.
So how do you want to help people?
Whatever, like anything, really.
Like what though? Give me an example.
Giving advice, I guess, would be one.
Okay. Advice about what?
Anything they're going through.
Okay, so like, what would be like a conversation you would love if someone called you, like almost like a hotline? I want you to go there with me right now. If someone called you on a hotline, was like, Carlos, I need something. What would you want them to talk to you about?
Something that's troubling them.
Okay, so with their family, with relationship, with business, like what would be the thing?
Yeah, family, personal, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we just found clarity for you. You literally want to help people understand family problems.
Yeah.
So right there, you've just now gained clarity to yourself of whatever that is you're doing, Carlos. You're going to want to be involved with helping people through family problems, whether that's psychology, whether that's through family therapy, whether that's through a business that's helping families get funding in a time like now, or education. But that's something that's very important to you.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you see the process that I just took you through with writing 10 things down by going, okay, fulfilling, but what really is fulfilling?
Yeah.
Awesome. Grow as a person. I love that, Emily. Alexis, it sounds like you have a lot of clarity. I'm going to come back to grow as a person. Give my kids. So Emily, a lot for you has with your kids, which is beautiful. This is very beautiful to hear this. Have a family and be able to help others. Karen, tell me, how do you want to help others? Can you come off the mute?
So I want to be a psychologist, so I want to work with counseling, with kids, juvenile detention centers.
Amazing. So what's important for you is to be working with kids, right?
Yes.
So that's something that you already have clarity on. And I think a lot of you, like when we were in the very beginning, when I'm like, who's excited about life? Who's excited to be here? Whoever's excited about whatever that is. Can someone turn their thing on mute? Sorry, someone's off mute. Whatever you're looking at that, whatever that it is. Do you guys hear that? Is it maybe just me? Okay. Whenever it is that you are looking to be excited or you're not excited, this is what you want to come back to. Whatever that you're showing up to right now in this moment. So if you're showing up to this class or you're showing up to whatever it is, like you are choosing to be excited about it. And the reason you're choosing to be excited about it is because you want to help people. And you're going to always learn something from wherever you show up of how you can help someone else. So even at the grocery store today, whatever it was, I ended up buying someone part of their groceries. They didn't have a lot of money and I did it. And that made me feel really good. I helped someone because I had the ability to do that. Every time you go somewhere, even though I wasn't excited to go to the grocery store, I made myself excited. I got to do something really great. And that feels really good to be in the momentum of that. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Let me see. I want to help families who have lost those they love. Raymond, I love that. She sent me someone wanted to help them find justice. I love that, Raymond. Alexa, Jessica, awesome. So do you guys see this thing of clarity of why, when I start out with excitement, why it's important to show up excited to things? And then from that, when you are excited, you can always come back, or if you aren't excited, you can come back to clarity of why it is you want to be here. You truly authentically want to help people. And from that place, writing down the 10 things that you want to do, take the top 3 things that you write, which is what Warren Buffett says, and never look at anything, never do anything else again. Everything you do should be centered around that, because if you're not doing it, you're not truly living in the place of helping other people with why you're here. Does that make sense? I hope it does. The other thing that I wanted to share is start a journal. So a lot of times when I go into this of how do you create clarity, of how do you really find why you're here, how do you find to be happy, how do you find like a mindset that's going to empower you in all of the chaos? Well, you start to journal about your feelings. And yeah, you guys have journaling. Start to journal about your feelings of what's coming up. A lot of times we logically think, which is what a lot of you have shared here, but I don't know why you're here. I haven't thought about it, or I'm here. When you start to feel into your feelings, I truly feel like I truly feel I want to help someone. Your life starts to have clarity, because you go, okay, if I do this action today, is that going to help someone? Or is that just going to have me go through the motions of life? So an example could be if I'm working a job, which I was working a job where I was a sales engineer, but I wasn't helping people. I knew that I was capable of doing more. Was I really helping the people by doing the way that I wanted to? I wasn't. And I had to find that clarity, which took me through asking, why am I feeling anxiety? Why am I feeling depressed? Why am I feeling angry? Why are there social injustices that are happening and I feel like I can't do anything about it? And from that, I started finding clarity of how to improve my mindset. And that's a huge question, is start asking yourself, how does this make me feel? How does what's going on in the world right now make me feel? And how can I help people? Does that make sense to everyone? So the next part that I like to say is start speaking your truth, which is kind of what I've gotten you guys doing into this exercise here, is speaking with other people what excites you. If you think about a lot of the conversations you have, and when I was your age, what I had, very rarely was I talking about things that excited me. I was more concerned on wanting to get a job. I wanted to make sure I graduated, and it was, living a life, moving, traveling, whatever that it was. But I wasn't really talking about how I wanted to help other people. Like what we've all just talked about here, that was not conversations I was having. I wasn't really thinking about it in that way. I really want to figure out how to help people. I wanted to live my life in a way that felt good, get the bills paid, and do whatever. And you can live from that way, yet you're not really going to live a fulfilling life, because you're not doing what you're truly meant to do, which is here to help others. And so you want to start speaking in your conversations with other people. Hey, I'm just curious, have you ever thought how you could help someone? I had this conversation, or I had this thing of how could I help people? There's these problems going on in the world, and I feel really passionate about it, and I wonder how I can help people. And when you start to change your dynamic, you start to change your conversation in that way, you start to literally speak a vibration out into the world, and your conversation and realities change. It's not like you magically, I guess, when you could say when you're a lawyer, I'm coming back to that because of what you said, or even if you're going, I want to pay my bills, or I just have enough to pay my bills. Well, you're not really saying I want to help people. You're saying I just want to do something where I have my bills paid, which is already taking you away from the true essence of what you all just communicated, what you really want to do. Does that make sense to everyone? So when you really start to play into this game, which is why I like to say it's creating, you really create your own reality. When I was in corporate, and I was doing this, I was growing the sales a lot, and I was managing teams, and I've helped other people now do lots of things in different businesses. Yet it's all because people started to speak different languaging. They started to go, wow, I actually can believe in myself that I could help more people. What if I actually could create a business where I started to hire people? I started to train people. What if I became a doctor myself of my own practice, and I have 10 employees? I started to train other doctors. I started to give other people the opportunity to do this. I am now working with pharmaceutical companies because I'm writing prescriptions, and I'm working with holistic pharmaceutical companies. I'm working with companies that are more in a way of not getting people on drugs, but helping them heal their own selves. What if you could start to expand your mind in that way by speaking these things into the world to allow yourself to really create a larger impact? Does that make sense for a lot of you? Or does anyone have questions or examples they want to talk about with speaking this? We have an exercise I was going to do with it as well, if not. Give it a minute. Okay. So the thing that I like to share, and I know when I was in your guys' age and I was doing like a bunch of interviews and I was always networking and figuring out what was going to happen, people would always go, what do you do? What is it that you do? Who is it that you are? What's your elevator pitch? And I always found that very interesting because I feel like your elevator pitch isn't really who you are. It's you pitching something back to sales or back to whatever it is. Like you have to pitch yourself, you know, even when you go into school, you have to write a letter. When you do classes, you have to do all these things. And so you're always pitching kind of, and it doesn't feel very good, which is the sales part. I agree with Justcon. I don't like that. However, what if someone said, instead of when someone asks you, what do? You say, you know, it's not about what I do, it's what I'm passionate about. And I'm really passionate about helping people. And the way that I do that through the medium of choice is through coaching people. It's through family, it's through therapy, it's through whatever that it is. But you really start to think in a way and communicate in a way that is more expansive, where you're not just going through life, and you're not just paying bills, yet you're actually creating changes in the world. And a big way that I like to share about speaking your truth or speaking is through social media, because the way that I've been able to travel the world, the way that I've been able to meet incredible people that are helping the world and changing the world in so many ways is because I chose to start speaking who I really was in social media. I chose to start using social media as a medium where I could speak authentically about topics that I cared about, which was very much about prison, people that were being put there, which was very much about advocating women's rights. It was very much about advocating people living a life that wasn't true to them, which is very much about the injustices in the cancer pharmaceutical industry. And I started speaking about these things on social media. And before you know it, I started growing a community of global like-minded people that really cared about these issues. You know, it was actually funny. Last Thursday, I held a lecture on my own, and I had 50 people that RSVP'd to this lecture about the COVID-19. And that was all because of social media. And I had all these people that felt like they could express how they wanted to help, how they felt like they couldn't help, and what was the way that they could create to do that. From that, there's people that started food banks. There was people that went into impoverished areas with people, and they started knocking on doors and leaving food there for people that maybe couldn't leave their houses, children. All from a lecture that I chose to do because I felt like I wanted to do something, and it couldn't just be me. From that, a business added a new product line to their e-commerce store, which all the proceeds go to helping find a solution for this. Whether I agree with whatever it is or not, but people felt like they could take actions. And what if through your life, through what you care about, through what you help people, you could be that instrument for someone else? Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions on it? Or they want to go through like their own thing if they don't understand how them speaking could do that? Okay, then I'll go to the third one. The third thing is I call living your truth. So creating a mindset is you're finding your truth, clarity of who it is you really are. You're speaking with conviction to others, why you're here, that you're here to help people, and you're truly living as you in the world. There's no mask, there's no pretending, you're simply being who you are. And so like a beautiful thing that, you know, Jessica, you said, you know, I want to really be someone who helps with my children. I want to be a good person for them. Someone else that I want to be, you know, a family. I want to build a house. And speaking those things more than speaking about things that kind of are irrelevant or don't matter. And when you'll find how quickly when you start to speak about things that are on your heart, you start to speak about things that are important to you. I know for me, you know, big things when I had cancer, you know, I had boys make fun of me when I was in high school because I was losing hair. And so I always go, I can't right now, but when I go throughout my life, I go to the hospital and I volunteer with little girls and help them with their confidence or do different things. Well, that was a mindset that I had to do. Sure, I can't change the whole world, but I've changed a bunch of little girls' lives along the journey. Been doing that for almost 5 years. And when you start to find your truth of who it is you really are, you start to look at who you're passionate about. You start to speak that, opportunities start to come to you. Things start to show up in your life that you can never imagine. You don't feel like that you just have to pay your bills. You start to feel like you have a larger purpose and that you get to show up to the world for something greater to happen. And that's when you start to really live with excitement. That's when you truly show up to something like this. You're excited because you know that there's going to be something greater that's offered to you. That's when you get excited to go to the grocery store, like I said today, because I didn't know I was going to be able to pay for someone's groceries that didn't have, you know, a lot of money, or like their card declined when they were getting it. But that felt great. That was a mindset that I chose to do, and I created that whole experience because I chose to find what it is I really want to do in this world. I started speaking it, and I truly get to live it. If I was so worried about money though, and so worried about bills, there's no way that I could do that. There's no way I could offer that. And that's why this relationship that I share with you about living your purpose and creating wealth is an important duality to live into, because they really go together. And when you really want to help people, there is money that's required. You know, if you're a doctor, you need to have a building that people can come into. You need to have computer systems. You need to have healthcare. There's all these things that unfortunately you can't have it without money. And so really changing the paradigm of what money could mean for you to live your purpose. Does that make sense, all of these steps for everyone, or does anyone have any questions? All right, so I know we have just about like 7 minutes left, but I wanted to do an exercise. So you guys can go off mute, but or one of you can go at a time. I love doing this with you guys. So what I like you to share is, you know, I desire to share like what it is you desire to do, because it inspires you to help, empower, solve whatever problem for this person or industry. And maybe you don't fully know that yet, but I really like helping you with this so you can start finding the clarity that you need to live in this way. Is there anyone who wants to go?
This gets tricky, Colleen, and I always suggest just calling on people.
Okay. Let's do, hold on. Let's do Jessica.
Okay, so I have to, what do I have to answer that I desire to?
Yeah, so what is it you desire to do in the world?
I desire to leave a, what's it called? A better future for my kids.
Okay. And why are you inspired to live a better future for your kids?
Because being the first generation from immigrant parents, it's been hard. I started working at a very young age, and I'm actually the first person who graduated from college with it, and that's so far. Just want them to have better options, a better life, like where they can feel grateful for what they have, but without having to go through all the hurdles that I had to go for them.
Got it. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And tell me from that, what problem is it that you want to solve in the world in
the world?
Or yeah, people or a group of people. Like what feels good for you to be like, because you clearly want your kids to see that anything is possible. And what do you want them to see how you're helping the world, how you're leaving a better life?
Given. I do a lot of charity. I give my time and I feed the homeless and
So would you ever want to open your own homeless shelter?
Yes, and also the animal shelter. I love animals, and I actually adopted my dogs. I rescued my dogs from a shelter because if I could have a big ranch, I would have a lot of animals. There's a lot. I give a lot to third world countries. Just when I go to Mexico, I give toys, clothes, and my daughter sees that, and she's actually when she doesn't she sees something, she's like, okay, I'm gonna take a gift to, like in December when I travel to Mexico, she takes gifts
I
to
love that.
kids that don't have anything. Like one of the times that we were down there, she saw a kid with no shoes. It was a girl, and she literally took off her shoes and gave them to her.
That is beautiful. So you are already, if you don't even realize it, Jessica, you already are living what it is you want to be doing in the world.
So if I was to have the money in financially independent, I don't see myself buying the Gucci purses and the Prada stuff. I feel that that's money that it's a waste. If you can afford stuff like that, you can afford to give to others.
So I think what you said there is very beautiful, and I want to share with you there is, so again, the relationship of what I was sharing about money and how we can help people is if you truly allowed yourself to dream in a place where you could be the one that's creating these foundation, like nonprofits or for-profits, and you are actually the one that's then creating the money and creating the movement around that, that becomes your lifestyle. You don't just have to do it as charity, that you truly make a life out of being able to create different foundations, different charities that help the homeless and help these countries get what they need. And when you start to allow yourself to expand your mind in that way, your life shifts very rapidly.
Yes.
So
that's my goal. Hopefully.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Jessica, okay, I want to make sure you're not getting attacked by your dog.
Yeah, and then Zachary, you wanted to go?
So I desire to open my own law firm eventually and help empower and solve cases that involve LGBTQ youth that pretty much don't have a voice for themselves. Because when I was growing up, my mom was that voice for me, growing up as a gay man, but now that she's getting older, she can't fight as much as more for me as she used to. But also that, with that being said, not many kids have even had that option to even have that voice for themselves. So that's what I kind of want to do eventually once I get established enough. I either want to open a nonprofit for LGBTQ youth or just have my law firm do pro bono cases for them in general to give them that voice that they weren't able to have as their younger selves.
Totally. I love that. And what I love that you shared there, Zachary, which I think is really important, which I want to share here is you can create a life, what you said, where you have your own law firm, where you're now employing other people and you are growing. You now are actually, your wealth, your money is growing by the amount of people that you have. Someone that a dear mentor of mine is that I kept going to is that they would say that the more money that you make means the more people that you're helping. And when you look at pro bono on this, if you have the funds yourself, you could actually help more people. And it's getting you in that place of you can help people right now in the moment at the grocery store. Yet I couldn't have helped someone whose card declined do that without having money. And I couldn't do that if I wasn't living in my purpose. And so when you look into that momentum and those shifts, a lot can change for you.
True.
So I really like that you said that. And this is the other thing is, I know you guys are at the end, but I was gonna say, take a piece of paper on your phone, go to your notes, and I want you to write a letter to yourself. This can be today, tomorrow, whenever that it is. But I just want you to write a letter to yourself of what will your life look like in 12 months from now. Put it in your calendar. This was from last time I did this, November 12th. It would now be, April 14th of 2021. And set an appointment for yourself at 10 a.m. to review this in your phone, this note in your phone. And I want you to share with yourself, what is it you want in 12 months and what are the commitments? And I want you to have that as a letter you can look back to and reference of what could be possible for your life. If you truly made the commitments to find clarity on what it is you want, you started speaking what Zachary just totally spoke beautifully, as well as Jessica. If you started speaking, I want to start a nonprofit, I want to have this. If you started speaking out to the random person in the grocery store, the random person at Starbucks, if you started posting this on social media, what could be possible for you? And this is my Instagram and my Facebook and my email. So you can always email or message me or whatever that it is. And then if there's I'm open for Q&A. I know it's over, but if some of you guys have specific questions around anything that I shared, or you want me to go into your specific life of what you desire, I'm happy to do that. I just want to be respectful of your time with that. But I hope that I provided some perspective for you guys of what can be possible. And like I said, my life was not that long ago like your guys's. So I wanted to share that and see if you guys have any other questions or anything you want to share. If you want to go through the exercise of what I just went through with Jessica and Braden or Zachary. Yep. Yeah. I'll put it. Yeah, totally. Share. Here you go.
Colleen, we always actually go into overtime.
I know. I'm like, there we go. So there's my stuff. But is there anyone else who wants to do the exercise again live? I'm happy to do it with you if you're like unclear, uncertain. The other one. And you guys, last time I did this, I did 2 classes, and I still talk to a lot of the students that I did this with, and they reach out to me about their business plans or their nonprofits or things that they want to do. So I'm always happy to look that over for you guys, or just ask me any questions about any of it. But anything, or I guess that it makes sense? Is it, I mean, do you guys have, I mean, even if you didn't like it, or you're kind of like, I don't still understand how money and this goes together, I'm happy to answer that as well, because I know that it's a big shift.
We can't hear you.
I think the challenge is the self-confidence component. I feel that's so key, and believing in ourselves and that we can do these things, that we're capable of doing these things.
Yeah, and Raymond, you just said too is confidence. You know, one thing that I've really learned, and I want to share this with you all. This is something really, really powerful, and it happened to my life recently. So I had a friend of mine actually got in a car accident, and he died at the age of 40. I know that probably seems very old to you guys, but 40 isn't actually that old. And he died of a coma. And there's another friend of mine who has stage 4 colon cancer right now. And it was interesting because a friend of mine, Dr. Joe Dispenza, some of you may not know him, or you do know him or may not, but he's someone that works with mindset, the science behind mindset, like the neural pathways in our brains, what's actually going on. And this guy who had stage 4 colon cancer, who's a friend of mine, he messaged me one day all of a sudden, and he says, I'm healed. And I go, oh my God, I'm so happy. When did you get your scan? He goes, no, I don't need the scan. I know that I'm healed. And he had this conviction in him. And I was like, whoa, this isn't crazy, you know? And what do you know? He had to scan 2 weeks later. He was totally healed. He had 5 tumors in his body that somehow miraculously the cancer just went away in 2 weeks. And that was because he had the confidence in knowing that his life could change. That was because he had the confidence knowing that in his heart and in his mind that there was something greater for him. And through my life, you know, when I quit my job and I left across the world to New Zealand, and I traveled the world, I mean, 13 countries alone by myself. I had no one with me, and I was making a business, and you have all these thoughts of who am I to create a business? Who am I to help other people? Who am I to make money? And the thing that I want to share with all of you is that if you really want to help, you have to look at how you can help yourself, because you can't help other people if you aren't in a stable place. You can't be excited about other people's journey if you aren't excited about your own journey. So I just wanted to share that with you, because it does come back to confidence and self-worth, and some beautiful practices to do that with is, I don't know if you guys know mantras, but anyways, repeating to yourself, when I said in the very beginning, noticing when you have a negative thought. Become aware of when the negative thought arises, when something frustrating arises, when something angry arises, or judgment arises, and start to go, why do I have that? And then start to rewrite it with a different thought. And you can say that out loud, like, you know what, I was really angry and I'm choosing to be happy. I want to choose to be happy. What do I have to be happy about? I'm happy that I have water. I'm happy that I have food. I'm happy that I have a family. I'm happy that whatever that it is. And when you start to go from this negative state into choosing better language patterns, your mood shifts so drastically, which then can actually change your life, will change your life. Does that make sense, Raymond? Because Raymond, I feel there's so many beautiful things about you, of what you said, like you want to help people. And you have to help yourself in order to help people. And in order to help yourself, you have to choose in every moment that you can be so extraordinary. You already are so extraordinary. There's nothing more that you need to do. There's nothing more that you need to go achieve. Like, you are this incredible human being that has so much to offer. And if you can just believe that and you can start to share that on social media, hey everyone, I just want to know, how are you doing today? We're in a really tough time. You could even go on Pinterest. It doesn't have to be a photo of you. You could just even write it. How is everyone doing in this time? Write an emoji below. I want to send a smile. Comment below to send a smile back. I want to do, a virtual happy hour, and I just want to talk. For those of you who maybe feel lonely right now, or don't know, or I wanted to watch this movie on Friday, and whoever else wants to be on Zoom and watch it with me, come join. But put it out into the universe, because you don't know all those feelings of loneliness and anger and frustration that a lot of us feel. We don't know how many other people are feeling that. If we don't speak that to give the people the opportunity to show up for us, we can't really do our part. Bye, Emily. So happy you were here. Anyone else have anything? I know we're over. So anyone else want to say like what they think or go through their little thing? Raymond, did that make sense what I said to you too? Anyone else? Any questions just about any of it, or mindset, or your own life? I'm happy to answer it while I'm here. All right. Then if not, I hope you guys definitely take the time to really write your letter. Feel free to send it to me on Instagram or my email. I'd love to see where you want to be in 12 months from now. I can expand you even further, or remind you to go further, push further, because you're so powerful and incredible and amazing. And sometimes we just need a cheerleader in our life. And I had a lot of people that cheerleaded in my life to make me be able to be who I am. So I'd be honored to do that for you. And I'm excited for you to submit that for your thing tonight, and just really think, like, in 12 months from now, where would you be proud of to be you? How many people do you want to impact? How many people do you want to help? Would you already want to start an e-commerce store, a for-profit brand? Would you want to have a social media following?
I think the Rohingya example is really great, and I don't think you touched on that enough. I don't know if you would mind sharing.
Yeah. So for my book that I did through ASU was the creating education for Rohingyas in Bangladesh. The Rohingyas are a group of 1 million displaced people. It's the largest displaced population in the world. So there's refugees and displaced people. What I created was how to create a technology-based education system that will empower them to have skill sets to be more desirable for countries to take them in. Because the reality is that as human beings that don't have really a right to any country right now, their own country doesn't accept them, and no other country is taking them in. The reality is that you have to have a skill set to be entered into a country right now. There is no other way to work through it. And so looking at what can I teach people so they have a skill set through technology and social media that can empower them to apply for the visas. Yeah. So it all comes back to just the creative force, what's possible for you, and doing it. And I've had grants before that we've looked at with it, and it's a lot of money. And you look at, that's like, almost you could look at hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars have been put into this. So you're looking at totally different numbers, and you could say, how do you do that with billions of dollars? Well, how could you help 1 million people without money? There takes phones, there takes technology, there's governments involved. I can't just get a bunch of phones for free. I can't just create a curriculum. There's things that are needed to have that infrastructure. And so changing your mindset in the way of what if money could be used for good? How can I use money for good? How can I start to cultivate a mission or a vision that I'm called to, that I have a purpose to, that I can speak about, and maybe there'll be an investor, maybe there'll be a mentor. I have a call, actually, it's so funny. There's a friend of mine, he's a big venture capitalist, and I had a question for him. And venture capitalists is kind of like big investors, but I'm working with, this is like a 10-year project on something else, but it's with an algorithm for Alexa. And we're having to gather data for a venture capitalist. And so I had a call with him. I go, hey, I just want to pick your brain really quick about what is needed for an investment thing for venture capitalists for an algorithm. And we went into all the stuff he shared with me. He didn't charge me anything. It was totally free because I have a built connection and relationship with him. But that's going to help me create an algorithm that I believe in. That's going to help a lot of people. And what if you could start to think in that way? Any questions? Or anyone else want to, like I said, do that exercise for themselves? The one that I had on my PowerPoint. All right. If not, I'm excited then to connect on email or social media. And I just created a new Instagram. You can find out the video why. I left my 11,000 following, started back over, which is beautiful. So it's just a good journey to always be on life, and you can always create and start over again.
Yeah, I was curious about why you did that.
Yeah. I did a video on it, but when I first started my business 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I started growing, but my intention was very different. I really wanted to help people with building a business. And I realized that I had a lot of following on there that people were very business focused. And I really wanted to change that to be more community focused now. I really just want to build a community of people that want to change the world, regardless if you understand business or not. But even that shift in my intention, I had 11,000 followers, to give you an example, and I was getting maybe 100, 200 likes on a photo, or 200 things on a video, and it wasn't very much. I now have 360 followers. I'm getting about 70 or 80 likes, and my video posts are still or video views are about 100. So I have 3% less following, and my engagement is 50% higher. And that just tells you it's about numbers. Looking at it, what happens when you really believe in something, what occurs. And I have all these different products I'm going to go to. I have all these different online products and e-commerce and services that in different ways impact people. But when you really believe in what you're doing, people find you through social media.
Yeah, I think you really do. You get the people who want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it, guys, unless you guys have anything else. All right.
Colleen, as always, it's been a pleasure.
So nice.
I'll see you again soon.
Yes, Thursday.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Feeling. Raymond, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna leave.
Okay. I really hope you enjoyed this message tonight.
Thank you. And can I have an extra day for those journals, because I don't think I'm gonna get them all done tonight.
I want the journal due tonight completed for sure.
Well, yeah, I'll do that one tonight, but the ones that I need to make up, I have an extra day.
You said you needed a day, right?
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Good night. And that's a wrap. We did it.